All right, friends and family, welcome to part 5 of the reading and use of English paper. So, we've already looked at part 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now, this is part 5. Part 5 is one of 3 reading passages that you get. We're going to look at the first one. So, how many questions do you get? You get 6 questions. How many marks? 12 marks. Okay. How many texts do we read? We read one long text, friends and family. Sorry about that, but it's true. How many options can we choose from? For every question, they give you 4 options. You need to choose one of them. Now, let's look at an example we have right here. So as I said, long text. I know. Okay, and then we have the questions here, and you have 4 different options as well. We're going to look in this video, we're going to look at a strategy on how to answer this part of the reading and use of English, the reading passage, part 5. Now, let's go. Let's look at some tips and strategies before we start. Now we need to underline the keywords in the questions, not the options. Please don't look at the options yet. Only focus on the questions. Underline the keywords. Now read through the text quickly. Pay extra attention to the first and last part of each paragraph. Very important. Why do I say that? Because normally the most important information will be at the beginning and at the end. So when you read it, read carefully at the beginning, scan, carefully, and then carefully, scan, and at the end again, carefully, at the beginning, carefully, in the middle, scan, at the end, carefully. That is how you need to read quickly through it. Now, moving on. Summarize each paragraph with a few words on the margin of the page to help you easily get back to the part of the reading text you need to get to faster when you answer your questions. Okay, what do I mean by that? We'll practice this. So when you read this paragraph here, summarize it in 2 or 3 words. What is that paragraph about? You would do the same here. You would do the same here, and obviously here as well. Now, when you look at the keywords, you'll be able to quickly link your keywords to the different paragraphs instead of, which paragraph was that? Now you can create anchors, links to these paragraphs. They'll help you to navigate the passage easier. Now, okay, so now, good. So once you've done that, you would look at your options and you would dismiss the obvious ones. Okay, you would underline the keywords in the remaining options. So if you have dismissed A and D, you have to focus on B and C. So you would look at those 2, underline the keywords, and then you would go back to the paragraph and you would read more detail. Okay, so now, and when you think you have your answer, remember that there has to be a clear connection between your option and the text. There has to be a connection. If you do not see the connection, then you are not sure of your answer. Paraphrasing and synonyms are very common. So those are tips, those are strategies. Let's look at that in more detail. Okay, so here is the paragraph, friends and family. I'm going to give you a few moments to read the paragraph. Okay, so read it, please. Okay, very good. So, first of all, you look at the question. Here's the question. In the first paragraph, which is this one, what is Caitlin's main point about the island? Okay, so now if you remember what I said, normally the most important information is either at the beginning or at the end of paragraphs. So remember that, okay? So now here are our four options, okay? So now it can be dangerous to try to cross from the mainland, okay? It is much smaller than, yes, mistake, I know. It looks from the mainland. It is only completely cut off at certain times, or it can be a difficult place for people to live in. So those are our options. Let's go. Okay, so now let's look at these options in more detail. Let's underline the keywords. If we're not sure, if we can't dismiss them, now we can try to dismiss them. So, dangerous. Any mention of danger in here? Any synonyms of not safe? No, there's nothing. Well, I'm going to be quiet. You answer, okay? It is much smaller than it looks from the mainland. Any mention of size here? Are they talking about size? Smaller than? That is a comparative. Are they comparing it in size with anything else? All right. So now, it is only completely cut off at certain times. Any mention of it being cut off? Is there anything there that says it's cut off? All right. So finally, it can be a difficult place for people to live in. Any mention of people living there, a civilization, or I don't, I'm not meaning civilization. Okay, population of people who live there. Remember, they use synonyms. Okay, so let's answer these questions. So, to quickly, any danger? Nothing about danger in there. Okay, comparative in size, are they comparing sizes? Do they mention it? Yes, they mention something about size. They do, exactly. Okay, so do they mention anything about being cut off? They also mention being cut off. It is true that they do. And a difficult place for people to live in? They don't speak at all about people living there. They don't. So let's go into more detail. So we can say goodbye to A and goodbye to D. We have two options left. So now it is much smaller. So where do they compare size? Well, it's about 4 kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide at its broadest point. So that's describing size right there. Okay, so keep that in mind. It is only completely cut off at certain times. Okay, well, so where do they speak about being cut off? Let's see. High tide water rises, nothing. Nothing can pass. Nothing can pass. That is a synonym for being cut off. So yes and yes. Let's carry on. Okay, more questions. Okay, so it is much smaller than it looks from the mainland. Okay, size, yes. Mention of appearance from the mainland. So I look at it. I'm looking at it from the mainland. Do they talk about that? No, they didn't talk about a clear vision of something. There's no appearance, so no. Smaller is comparative in size. Is it being compared? No, nothing is being compared. No, it's just 4 kilometers long, 2 kilometers wide, and there's no comparative. There is no comparative there. So based on that, we know that option B is not possible. But let's look at C, because remember, you need to have that connection to be sure. It is only completely cut off at certain times. So yes, we found cut off, yeah? Nothing can pass. Paraphrasing, nothing can pass. Let's give that thing as okay. Now, any mention of certain times? Look at the question, see, it is only completely cut off. So we have cut off, we have the connection. Cut off, cannot pass. Where is the connection for certain times? Yes, when there is a high tide or until the tide goes out again. Those are specific moments, certain times. There is your other connection. So now you have a clear connection that C is your correct answer. Okay, so that is how you would answer this type of question. Okay, so please use the strategies. Okay, read, look at the most important parts of the reading. Okay, let's go back. Very good. Remember to summarize each paragraph because that's one question. You have more to do here. Okay, write mini summaries. The most important information is normally at the beginning and at the end. Okay, and if you look at this answer, okay, where is it? It's at the end. You remember what I told you? The most important information is at the beginning or at the end normally. And they're asking about the main point. That's important. I'm not saying all the answers will be here, but if they're asking for the main point, main is most important. Normally, the most important information is either at the beginning or at the end. Can you see that in this option for size, that was at the beginning as well? Interesting how they put that there specifically. Okay, so now this is the strategy that you would apply for this part 5 of the reading and use of English, which is the first reading task that you do of the 7 tasks that you need to do. We're going to move on. We're going to look at part 6 for more strategies and techniques on how to answer them. So, hope you're ready. Let's go.